Yo, 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 what is good, everybody? Welcome back to another Ever Crisis video. Today's video is another Should You Pull on the most recent banner that just came out, and that is the Easter banner. And on that note, I wish everybody a very happy Easter weekend. I hope you have a great time. So, new banner, new weapons for Aerith and Lucia. Aerith gets the Egg Staff, a magical fire weapon, and Lucia gets Rose Musket, which is the same. Then they each get their own outfits. So let's take a look. Aerith has Classic Coney, which gives Flame Blade Arcanum, which you should all know by now. It's 35% fire ability damage, and that's very nice to have. It also has Boost Magic Ability Potency, which is very nice. In my opinion, the Boost Magic Attack / Boost Physical Attack costumes are kind of outdated, as those are very easy to max out our abilities. So having something like HP, or in this case Magic Ability Potency, is a lot better in my opinion. Very nice offensive outfit for magic fire damage. This is her Egg Staff, and the ability Helical Flame looks pretty cool. But there it is. It has a very high magic attack stat, very nice. It has Boost HP and Fire Potency, which similarly to, like I mentioned with the outfit, I think is very nice. It's much better than Boost Physical Attack or Boost Magic Attack, because those are easy to max out, as mentioned, and it makes it a more viable sub-weapon as well. As for the ability, Helical Flame, it's pretty nice. It is a decent percentage AoE fire damage, and then it has that adaptability where if you hit a single target, the damage goes up to 819%. So very nice. Support materia, nothing really to talk about there. It has the all cure spells, which personally I haven't actually really used, so let me know if you find that very valuable. Next up is Lucia's outfit, Gothic Bunny. It looks very cool, and it has the ever valuable buff debuff extension. I think that is one of the most valuable R ability things you can have on an outfit or weapon. And then it has Flame Frost Rabbit Ears, which is very similar to, or exactly the same as Red's Hellhound outfit, where you get both fire and ice resistance 20% and fire and ice ability damage 15%. It might be a bit weird having them split between two damage sources, but I get this feeling that we are going to need a lot of different types of elements in the future, so I think these kind of costumes can actually be very valuable. Here's her weapon, Rose Musket, and her ability Blazing Rose. Kind of like a triple shot, pretty cool. Again, it has very high magic attack stat, so that is in line with the newer weapons. This one has Boost Magic Ability Potency and Fire Potency, so two offensive R abilities with a good point distribution, so that's nice as well. Then the ability itself, Blazing Rose, is a 620% fire damage, and if her HP is 50% or more, it lowers their magic defense by high potency if you have it overboosted enough. So a very solid command ability. And then it also has a triangle sigil boost, which is always nice to have a sigil boost on a weapon. If I could have sigil boosts on all of my weapons, I would. Overall, very nice weapon. The boost magic ability potency is quite cool as well. So let's take a look, as always, at some comparisons. First off, comparing the Egg Staff to the other fire potency weapons that are magic damage. And here you can see the stats on the Egg Staff are much higher than Flame Projector. The R abilities, are the same pretty much in terms of points, but I still prefer the HP. And then the command ability, you can see, is just much better on the Egg Staff. It is a higher percentage for AoE, and it has that single target versatility where it gets stronger for single targets. So overall, Egg Staff much better than Flame Projector. But let's see how it stands up to a more recent weapon that is also fire potency magic based weapon, and that's going to be Zack's recent weapon from the most recent banner, the Stream Guard, I believe it is, yes. And as you can see, the staff's magic attack stat is, well, they both have very high magic attack stats, so it's enough about that. In terms of R abilities, Zack's weapon's R1 is obviously better because it is the boost M attack for all allies, which is very strong. But to get that power, it has to sacrifice the fire potency from the R2, and the staff has a lot more fire potency, so it wins out there. In terms of command abilities, I would say they're kind of equal in power in a way. Zack's is probably a bit better because his single target is its base and its increased bonus damage are both higher than Aerith's single target, which is 819%, but Aerith has the AoE, so that counts in her favor there. Zack's weapon also has the sigil boost, so all in all, I would say the Stream Guard is actually a better weapon, but I do have this feeling that AoE is going to become a lot more important in the near future. I don't have any information to back that up, it's just a feeling I'm starting to get. So yeah, it measures up pretty well in terms of stats and R abilities, and it is a very solid command ability, maybe not as good as Zack's. Overall, much better than Flame Projector and not much worse than Stream Guard. So let's take a look at Lucia's weapons, a quick comparison against the same weapons I just did Aerith's staff for. So the Rose Musket similarly has a much higher magic attack stat than Flame Projector, and kind of on par with Zack's weapon. The R ability points are around about the same. And yeah, the command ability is better than Aerith's weapon, but of course it's only single target. And its single target is quite a lot weaker than Zack's single target, but it does come with a debuff as well, which is quite nice as well, so that sort of makes up for the lack of damage. This weapon also has a sigil boost, so pretty solid, I would say. Similarly to the Egg Staff, it's kind of in between these two weapons on the right. And because it is a magic defense debuffing weapon, I'm going to compare it to a few similar weapons in that regard. And the first one is Sephiroth's Radiant Edge, which is also a fire weapon with a defensive debuff. So here you can see the primary stat of the Rose Musket is much higher than Radiant Edge's primary stat, but Radiant Edge has more R ability points, especially in the R1 where it has quite a lot. The musket has three more points in the fire potency in the R2, so it's got that going for it. And then the big thing is the command ability. So if we compare them, the Blazing Rose is going to do much more damage from the actual ability, because not only is the percentage higher, it is also magic fire damage again versus non-elemental. So the fire potency is going to increase that as well. So it's going to feel a lot more impactful using the actual ability. And then the defense decrease is instant high potency if you have it overboosted enough, versus Sephiroth can only reach mid. But then of course, Sephiroth's weapon does have the added fire resist down of high potency, which is a very big thing as well. So actually, even though they are very different, quite comparable weapons in my opinion. The Rose Musket has more damage, more oomph in the actual use of the ability, and it does have utility as well, whereas Radiant Edge brings more utility, much less damage. Finally, I'm going to compare it to her own weapon, Thunderbird, which is also a magic DPS, magic defense debuff. So these are the closest two weapons to compare, and you can see that Thunderbird wins out on magic attack stat, but the Rose Musket is not far behind. Thunderbird is the highest magic attack stat weapon in the game, with Canyon Collar. And the R abilities, Thunderbird also wins out because they have the same amount of points for their respective elemental potencies, but R1 on Thunderbird has a lot more points. Of course, you can argue boost magic ability potency is more valuable than boost magic attack, but in the end of the day, the R1 is a lot higher on Thunderbird. Then we take a look at the command ability, and this is where the Rose Musket wins out because it has a higher percentage and the magic defense down can also reach high potency if it's overboosted enough, instant high potency cast, whereas Thunderbird will always require at least 2 casts to reach maximum debuff. Of course, there is one thing to say, is that Thunderbird's magic defense down is just free and instant, whereas the other weapon you have to be above 50% HP. So, Aerith's Egg Staff is overall a solid weapon, and it has a very high magic attack stat. It has the versatile ability where it is an AoE ability, but it also gets a little bit stronger when you use it as a single target ability. The boost HP R1, in my opinion, is pretty nice and valuable. And I would pull for this weapon if you don't have a fire potency set up yet, or if you don't have any decent AoE weapons. And then of course, if you want to build an arsenal of magic DPS fire weapons, because all of the fire weapons in the past have been physical attack, and only recently are we getting magical attack fire weapons. Personally, I would say this weapon is actually a pretty easy skip, unless you really need a fire-based weapon. And for myself, I won't be pulling on this weapon. So you need to decide. In the end of the day, it's up to you whether you want to pull on it. It's not a bad weapon by any means. As for the Rose Musket, this is also overall a pretty good weapon. It also has a very high magic attack stat. And then it's one of 3 weapons with magic ability potency that also has another offensive R ability. And is actually the first magic ability potency weapon that's tied to an element. So it has that going for it, makes it quite unique for now. And that could be pretty useful, but it could also be a detriment being tied to an element. And then it has a good C ability. The percentage is a bit higher than most other weapons like it. And it has the elemental damage versus most of similar weapons have non-elemental damage, like Zack's Black Whiskers, Sephiroth's Radiant Edge. Most of the debuffing weapons have non-elemental, and this is elemental, making it quite strong. And of course, it's got a triangle sigil boost. So overall, I would pull very similarly to the last weapon. I would pull if you don't have a good fire weapon or fire potency setup yet, and if you want to build up a arsenal of magic DPS or fire potency specifically, because of only having physical in the past. And then I could also see it being good to pull for this if you don't have any other magic ability potency weapons built up yet. Although if you have Sephiroth's weapon from the previous banner, I would prioritize that because it's not locked into an element. At the end of the day, if you still need a good magic defense debuffing weapon, if you don't have any strong ones, I would go for it as well. But for me personally, I'm going to be skipping entirely on this banner. I think it is actually a very skippable banner, and the half anniversary banner before this was, in my opinion, much better. Overall, they are good weapons, they are not bad at all, and you can pull for them if you like them or need them. Thank you so much for watching. See ya.